Good evening, and welcome to D3 Dialogue with Deirdre. I'm Deirdre Pierce, your school board member for District 3, where I proudly serve schools in the Cedar Grove, Columbia, McNair, and Towers clusters, as well as Avondale Elementary School, Wadsworth Elementary Magnet, DeKalb School of the Arts High School, the Early Learning Center, which you'll hear a little bit more about later, DeKalb High School of Technology South, International Student Center at Midway Facility, and two charters, DeKalb Preparatory Academy and the Museum School of Avondale Estates. My purpose for hosting this event is twofold. One, I wanted to officially introduce myself to you as your new board member, kind of give you a little bit of idea about how my 5 months on board have been. But most importantly, to allow our district experts to provide valuable information to you and for you about what we possibly can expect with this upcoming school year. Now, before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge if any board team members are present.
Not
Anybody?
on the board.
They're here. Anybody? Well, thank you. I can't see you from where I am, but thank you if you are. And to introduce our superintendent, Mrs. Cheryl Watson Harris, who's going to bring greetings to us and also introduce our wonderful panel of experts and other leaders. Mrs. Watson Harris.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Pierce. And I have to say what a privilege and an honor it is to work alongside you, work for you. I think everyone knows that Mrs. Pierce has a very long and deep experience and history here in DeKalb County and all of her wonderful service working with our parents. And she brings that same zest and zeal and true commitment to excellence in everything that she does. So I just want to thank you, Mrs. Pierce. Thank you for stepping up and thank you for all of your service on the Board of Education thus far. Mm-hmm. And thank you for allowing our phenomenal team a chance to engage in a more intimate way with the constituents of District 3. So thank you so much. To everyone, I'm Cheryl Watson Harris, the very, very proud superintendent of DeKalb County School District, and it's my honor and privilege to be in community with you this evening. I have the honor of introducing my phenomenal team because as we like to say, teamwork makes the dream work, and that this really running this beautifully diverse district takes a group of true champions for children. So on tonight's panel, we have our Chief Academic Officer, Ms. Stacy Stepney. You'll have an opportunity to hear from her. We have our Chief Information Officer, Ms. Monica Davis, who will be able to speak to you about our technology plans, virtual instruction, devices, etc. We have the phenomenal Marcia Coward, who's here with her amazing team. Minnie, I won't introduce everyone. I'll allow her to do that when she has the mic. But they are the ones who run our award-winning mini awards, right? But recently, the state award, Family Empowerment, Family Engagement initiatives that we have here in DeKalb County. You also have with us this evening our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Ben Esto. He'll be able to speak to you about all things facilities, our vision for our facilities upgrade, our CMP, our Comprehensive Master Plan, and we hope that that's something that's very familiar to you. We also have Dr. Deborah Moore Sanders and her team that will be able to speak to our supports around social and emotional health, mental health, physical health, how we're supporting all of our scholars, and setting them on their pathway to be extremely successful leaders and community members. And she's joined by Nurse Joanne Harris, who can speak to you a lot about our COVID-19 responses and how we're keeping everyone safe. Miss Moname Malapith, who can speak to you about the summer melt. And I know that Mrs. Pierce is very interested and passionate about that. And Dr. Keisha Towns also, who can speak to you about those student support pieces. And last but not least, you have several of our regional superintendents on the line as well, who support our principals on a day-to-day basis. So again, Mrs. Pierce, thank you for making this opportunity available to us. And we just look forward to being in community with the constituents of District 3 and sharing our successes as well as our areas in need of improvement as we plan for the next school year.
Thank you, Mrs. Watson-Harris. I'm very humbled by all those kind words, and I'm honored to have everybody surrounding me. This is truly a team effort. I'm very, very thankful for that. And you mentioned my many years, and this was off script a little bit. I have my notes, but I just wanted to let people know, yes, I have been laboring in this vineyard for a very long time. But the only reason I have is because I have such great faith in this district. And everybody that's here tonight that's representing the district, that's been here for a little while, or even those that are new, we are committed. We're committed. We may have faltered a few times, but we've never been out. And that's the good thing. We have a great vision. And I do believe that Mrs. Watson-Harris has helped us and is going to help us move the needle forward to get those things done that we've been so anxiously waiting to see happen. So I appreciate the kind words again. And I know there's more people like myself out there, but for me to step into this arena, I'm on the other side of the door now. I've spent many times out in the audience and the boards, at the board meetings and whatnot. So I'm not unfamiliar with what's going on and how things work. But to get on the other side of the door is truly a learning experience. But it's a wonderful and rewarding experience. I will let everybody know that up front. So with that, I just want to tell you, although I was elected in August of last year, I didn't officially take my duties or start my duties actually until January of this year. And of course, you know what all was going on. We're still in the throes of COVID, but we were really in COVID at that time. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, a lot of concern and anxiety. But as Mrs. Watson-Harris alluded to, her team, and of course our board team, we all spent a lot of sleepless nights. I think them more so than ours, our group. But a lot of hard decisions had to be made. But at the forefront of everything that we were doing, the well-being of every individual, I want to emphasize that. Children, family members, teachers, faculty, community members, everybody has always been at the forefront of the decisions that we were all making. When to come back, should we come back, how will we come back, all of those types of things. But taking a deep breath and having faith in each other and the process and doing things correctly and keeping people informed got us to what I'd like to say a successful ending to this second semester of 2021. So I'm very, very proud of that. I will say also that I'm quite proud of the fact that in January, one of my successes, I masked up. I asked permission to go visit principals because I thought that was extremely important. I had a little thank you note, which I'm noted for, that I take with me everywhere to give to those principals at each of our schools. And I think I may have missed 5, but I'll catch them up in the fall. Just to let them know that who I was. I wanted to formally introduce myself to them and let them know that I am, there are no words, but I'm just extremely supportive of what they were doing, what they are going to be doing, getting the buildings ready, they do for children on a daily basis. So I wanted to really make that happen. So from probably late January through maybe mid-March, I was able to visit all but about 5 of my schools. So I'm very, very excited about that. I'll describe my 5 months this way: challenging, informative, educational, but extremely rewarding. And that first one in January was my first reward, and my second major reward, I've had many in between, but graduation in May. That was a major one. When I had the opportunity to see the students walk across the stage, tell them congratulations, we're very proud of you, and to also instill in them and just quietly say the world is waiting for what you have to offer. That was a powerful moment for me that I will never forget. And so we did have, after that, we had just a little bit of downtime. So, of course, I wanted to make sure that I took time out to address you, to introduce myself to some and reintroduce myself to others, because I've kind of been there. People have said, I thought you were already on the board. No, I just work with the school district and help them. We just do some collaborations. But now that I'm here, I'm proud to be here, extraordinarily proud to be here. And I'm excited because I see hope at the end of this tunnel, and I see extraordinary opportunity for us. And I will do everything that I possibly can to get us there. So I wanted to let you know that for information about me, if you want to know a little bit more about me in terms of my bio, it is located on the school district website under the Board of Education page. I think we'll be posting my email address. I would love to hear from you, whether you're in my area or not. We all, as I said, work as a team on the board at this time. So if I don't know an answer, or if it's not in my area, I'll pass it on to whose area it is. So please let me hear from you. I'll be happy to respond back to you as soon as I possibly can. So thank you for that. Now, to get to the meat of this conversation, the actual good part, I say. I will be asking our wonderful panel of experts a few questions. And of course, feel free to expand any way you'd like. This is a joint effort. I want people to be aware and informed so that they can take back information and give it and share it with other people. So of course, Mrs. Watson Harris, you happen to be on the hot seat first. So you've now been on the job a full year. What do you find to be the most challenging and most rewarding experiences so far? And has your vision for the district changed at all?
Thank you so much for the question, Mrs. Pierce, and thank you again for your incredible leadership. I think just even in your opening, everyone could feel your sincere passion and hopes and dreams for this incredible district. So I love working with you, and thank you so much for your
Thank you.
leadership. I would say my observations or my observations of successes and challenges, as well as vision for the district moving forward, is one, I had read all about DeKalb County School District before accepting the position and also before coming here. But I can honestly say that out of all of the places I work, we have some of the most talented and committed educators of any place I've ever worked. We have amazing teachers, we have amazing principals, we have amazing central office staff who truly put the children at the center of all of the decisions that we make. And what I see as some gaps is making sure that we continue to put meat on the bones of our strategic plan. We have a wonderful strategic plan that serves as the blueprint for our success, but we have to continue to make sure that equity is at the center of our improvement strategies. And we know that while we have a beautifully diverse district and we celebrate that, that there are schools that we have, that our children are not doing as well as we want them to do. And so we have to make sure that we are holding ourselves accountable for changing that trajectory for our students. And so my real vision for the district remains the same, that we have a true vision for the graduate of the DeKalb County School District, that anyone who enrolls their children in DeKalb County School District, and we hope that it's the first choice for all families, that we can assure them that their child will graduate. And as you talked about that magical moment, once they get that diploma and they walk past all of us and fist bump and go to the other side, that they're going to the other side prepared to excel and graduate in college from college, or prepare to enter a family sustaining career or a life in the military, so that we can say that we've met our promise to ensure that every graduate of the DeKalb County School District graduates prepared for their preferred future. And everything else from the time they enroll until that time is really the job that we have to continue to improve and accelerate and reach new standards of excellence. So I thank you so much for the question.
You're welcome, and thank you for that wonderful response. And that's what we needed to hear. We've heard a lot of things about what a lot of people want to do in our district, and it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, but I think that with you at the helm at this time and the team that we have and you have, I think we're going to be able to make those things happen. So thank you so much. And just before I get to the topics, I do want to take a real quick minute to introduce you to Dr. Zach Phillips. He is the director. Remember, I told you that you'd hear about the Early Learning Center a little bit later. Well, the later is now. I invited Dr. Phillips to this event because I just met him, of course, recently. And actually, we in DeKalb and in District 3 and the McNair cluster are extraordinarily blessed, if you will, to have an early learning center, which I think a lot of people don't really know about, Dr. Phillips, but it's for 3-year-olds. So with that, I'm going to open the door for you to just come on and speak to how your students get selected. Tell everybody about the great work that you and your staff are doing there.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to our stakeholders tonight, Ms. Pierce. My name is Zach Phillips, the proud director of the Early Learning Center, and I have the distinct pleasure of working with a wonderful group of educators on a daily basis with educating our youngest students in the district. Our students are selected via a lottery system that we house within the school district. And I can honestly say that we will be potentially welcoming almost 200 students who are our newest cohort based on the submission of applications that we've received thus far, as well as we have about an extensive list of about 30 students on the wait list. Subjects that we teach our students on a daily basis consist of literacy, mathematics, STEAM, social studies, and we do have a conscious discipline, social and emotional learning component that's embedded within our curriculum. Our students are exposed to not only whole group and small group instruction, but we also do one-on-one remediation, as well as acceleration via our double dose instructional strategy that we use not only face-to-face, but also within a virtual setting. Our students are also exposed to connections classes, which consists of physical education, art, computer lab, as well as the media center. So in a nutshell, everything that we do instructionally is intentional, and it caters towards our students' learning continuum, their learning modalities, as well as their early readiness skills. The return on investment that I feel impacts not only our students' readiness skills, but also their readiness gap, which will have a positive impact on our students' achievement gap once they transition into their K-12 pathway. The wraparound services that we offer on site consist of the RTI process, as well as targeted classroom counseling and instructional lessons, partnerships, community resources that we gain via the support of our social work department. We also are proud to announce that we will be opening up a laundry room as a community resource for our parents whose students attend the school in case they need to utilize that resource while they're receiving instruction. And this particular Monday, we started our new established summer transition program for our students who need additional instructional support prior to them transitioning to kindergarten. My vision for the ELC supports the vision of the board as well as Madam Superintendent Watson Harris in regards to developing the whole child. Having a positive impact on our students' early learning and elementary divide is paramount to us. So having our students transition to kindergarten performing on or above grade level, as well as exceeding those kindergarten standards, exceeding the Georgia GKIDS readiness assessments that they'll be exposed to within the first 6 weeks of school, as well as other district and state assessments via the grade levels that they transition to when they start their K-12 journey is paramount, as well as ultimately graduating from high school so they could be able to compete in a global society across all domains. Our location, of course, is in Region 7. We're located at 797 Fayetteville Road, with the support of not only the board, but Madam Superintendent Watson Harris, Ms. Stacy Stepney, and all division heads. We operate under the leadership of of our regional superintendent, Dr. Rodney Swanson. So with that support, we are pushing the instructional leader with high expectation, and we see the return on investment with our students on a daily basis.
Fantastic. And Dr. Phillips, how many students do you currently have there?
Currently, we have pre-pandemic, we had almost 350 students. After the pandemic, we're hovering around 325. But based on the application that's been submitted thus far for our newest cohort, as well as the students that we'll be reporting back for our 4-year-old program, we'll come in at around 360 to 370 students. So
That's
we'll be right back at where we were prior to the pandemic.
That's fantastic. And then one thing I will say that when I was campaigning, one of my campaign promises actually was to look at content mastery. My concern has been through the years of our students being moved to the next grade or matriculate to the next grade and they're not ready. And that's been a big concern. So I think we're getting ready to eradicate that completely. So I'm excited about that, and especially starting with you with the 3-year-olds, that is a wonderful place to be. So thank you so very much. And thank you for being with us tonight. Someone put in the chat that their child was accepted at your school. So hey, kudos for you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Moving into our topics 1 and 3, our return to school plans and instructional challenges. Ms. Stepney, I've got a couple of things for you. It's kind of a 3-part thing. Do you want me to just say it all, or do you want me to take it in pieces?
Good evening, Mrs. Pierce. Please take it in pieces.
Okay. I'd have to do the same, not a problem. Okay, we made it through one of the most challenging semesters of all time. What lies ahead instructionally for our new school year?
Thank you for that question.
Sure.
It is one that we hope all of our stakeholders will embark on this journey with us. We recognize that right now our world is talking about learning loss. We would like to coin that as the learning opportunity loss. And so one thing that we have done as a district, we have looked at our students. We have looked at our engagement over the last year and recognized that some of our students did exceptionally well. And then there are others who did not academically, socially, or emotionally fare as well as we hoped. And so our planning began earlier in second semester to make sure we could have a viable, newly revised program for our students. And so we launched the 2021 Summer Mosaic Learning Programs, and it's intentional. We tried to, and I know that they're not students on the call, but I will say it this way to all of the parents who are here with us. We tried to make sure that learning could be one that the students could connect with this summer. So it's not perceived as, oh, I have to go to summer school. And all of our programs have embedded standards so we can make sure we are tackling reading, that we're tackling writing, we're tackling the math standards. And so when you ask about the instructional challenges, when we look at our data, we know that some of our students are below proficiency in the area of literacy as well as in the area of mathematics. And so we are committed to a very robust program this summer. And this gives students an opportunity to continue the learning. It's not going to close the gap in just a month and a half. So our journey has begun. Next school year, what you can anticipate will be a recovery plan that includes safety nets for students. And safety nets does not mean necessarily more of the same, that we're going to give the students homework. We are anxiously ready to meet them where they are because we don't want to leave them where they are. It's important that we have the grit, that we are committed, and that we are intentionally supporting the schools. That is why we are in service at the central office, is to meet the students where they are and provide those supports. So we'll be working hand in hand with our regional superintendents as we monitor the academic progress of our students to provide that support.
Okay, and before I give you your second part, I would like to commend the Summer Mosaic, for the program for the students, because not everything was geared to academics necessarily. Of course, our young people have been they've been cooped up just like everybody else. So a lot of times having something that's just fun, they need to get back into knowing what that looks like and what that feels like. So I'm very thankful for the district for having something like that, included in what we have planned for academics as well. And especially even for our special students. I think if you'll speak to that a minute, don't we have a program or something for our special students for this summer as well?
Yes. So all of our programs are designed to meet the needs of any of our learners. So you have our gifted, our students with exceptionalities, our English learners, our students that perhaps have 504 plans. And so the goal would be, again, to look at where the students are and to meet, if it's a student with disabilities, to examine the student's IEP goals and make sure that we are moving the student forward with achieving those goals. More importantly, doing the progress monitoring and collecting the data and working hand in hand with the families. As all school districts, part of a student's IEP committee meeting, they could have determined that the student needed extended school year time. And so we do offer extended school year. And that is something that it's not like a special something for the students this summer. It is determined by their IEP and we must do that. But what we're really excited about is that we have those opportunities, as you said, in the other programs where if I'm a student with an exceptionality, I want you in the aviation camp. You know, because we want learning to be fun for you too. We want you to be in the Girls Who Game. We want you to be in the robotics. So we have those type camps that are inclusive of all learners. And Mrs. Pierce, if I may say this, also we hired counselors to support our students throughout the summer. It's important that we not only tackle the academic component, but we're helping students transition back to in-person learning in some instances. So we're trying to deal with the trauma. We're trying to deal with the social adjustments. And so that's an added benefit of our programs to have our social workers on board as well as our counselors.
And please feel free. Again, I mentioned that this is a collaborative. I don't want you to think that you're pigeonholed into just the one question that I might be asking. If there's something that you feel like you need to just, it's on your heart, you need our stakeholders to hear, please feel free, because this is what this is. This is an open forum. I want people to be informed. I want them to leave here understanding and completely comprehending what we're offering and be pleased with what we're offering, or even offer some opinion as to what they think we might need to add. So thank you so much for that. Now, your second part, because you just answered the latter part of it about the supports, what will a typical classroom look like now going forward?
Okay. In early May, we made a commitment that our goal is to plan a 5 full-week in-person learning opportunity for our students. We realize that some families may have the opportunity to opt out because of whatever reason. So we are committed to, number one, eliminating concurrent learning. And concurrent learning was where we had some virtual learners and some in-person learners. And so we acknowledge that it was difficult for some. We acknowledge that we've had some teachers who excelled, but all in all, we want to eliminate concurrent learning. And so we will have teachers who are fully engaged. They're facilitating the learning with the students. We will have our Flex program expanded so that if we have a group of learners who are opting for virtual, that we have teachers who are committed to that virtual learning space and not having to balance both. So that would be what I would say. It's a new norm.
Yes.
What we are interested in making sure happens for our students is that engagement, the opportunity to connect with their peers, and if you will, get dirty, learn, experience the standards in the classroom again. So that's our commitment.
And it's a wonderful commitment. And of course, I fully support that, as you know that. But it's just, yeah, we've got so many wonderful things happening for the kids. Now that we can kind of, like, as I said, exhale a little bit, now that we finished this the semester and have, just like I said, just a moment to kind of sit back and take a breath. Excuse me, that we can, prepare for other things and move toward those next goals. So thank you so very much for that.
Mrs. Pierce, if you don't mind me just also suggesting to the teammates, because this is a great forum, but we do have other ways families can get this information. I'm just looking in the chat and the questions that people are asking. So to just encourage each of the teammates when you share to also share where families can go to get additional information on the things that you're discussing, so that they know how to find that information well beyond even this town hall.
Right, and thank you for that. Thank you for that. I mean, this is there's a lot of information, a lot of great information, and we're just getting started. So thank you, Mrs. Watson Harris. Miss Davis, it's on you. Is Miss Davis here?
Good evening, Mrs. Pierce.
Yes. Hi, Miss Davis. Welcome, and thank you for being here with us. Please tell us about any enhancements to IT that you'd like to share with our stakeholders, Chromebook updates, connectivity upgrades, all those good things.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. As we all know, a lack of access to digital technology is a lack of access to learning. I think that's the one thing we all learned in our current journey, that we are moving into this new normal, and it's going to determine what the role that technology really is going to play, and really redefine the role of technology. So, in the district, digital equity is a priority for us in the school district, and the IT division takes this very, very seriously. We understand this, and we saw it with our own eyes. What happens when we need to make sure that our students have the tools that they need to learn, and that our teachers have the tools that they need to teach and to support our students. So for us, when you think about challenges, the challenges with the challenges, and we are up for the task. But our challenges are ensuring approximately 100,000 student devices and 6,000 hotspots are analyzed, reset, and repaired and inventoried, ready to go on August the 2nd to be distributed on August 2nd, 2021. So that is the work that we are currently engaged in, going through every last Chromebook, making sure that they are ready to go. The Board of Education in May approved 25,000 additional Chromebooks for us to be able to use. So as we go through our analysis to see what devices need to be retired, because some of our devices are 4 years old, and what devices are okay. We're going through all of that to see where we are, to make sure that, again, by August 2nd, 2021, there is a device in the schools ready to be distributed to our students. Also ensuring that our peripheral technology tools are functional and available for teachers. One thing we also know is that teachers and students need a camera and a microphone. And just like we are speaking right now, we all need a camera and we need a microphone. But there are some other tools as well that are being utilized by our teachers, tablets for them to be able to write on, as well as you think about a math teacher showing how to solve a math problem, or even looking at our document cameras, being able to show a book and read a book to the students and show those types of, so the entire class can see it. So those types of peripherals, those technology tools, we're working on making sure that we're assisting the schools there. Also, really, really important, now that we're returning back to our schools, ensuring that our network infrastructure continues to expand. And so, and again, I was speaking with Mrs. Watson Harris earlier, and we were talking about making a hop and then a leap. And so, we'll make a hop, and our hop is to make sure that we're ready for August 2nd, 2021, when all of these devices are returning back to our schools, and that our network is able to accommodate them, because you'll have students, just because they're in the building, we still know that with some of the great techniques and teaching techniques and opportunities and all of the content, the digital content that CNI is purchasing, and just all of the great teaching strategies that our teachers have been utilizing, they're going to want to continue to use those devices and allow the students to use the devices. So that is another piece that we want to make sure that our network infrastructure can accommodate those additional devices with this extraordinary opportunity to engage our students. Lastly, implementing a robust and reliable support plan. We learned a lot about support during this time as well, but we want to ensure that we provide robust, reliable, and secure access to our devices and our network in the school district. So we're reviewing how we empower all of our users with knowledge, awareness, and skills so that they can adequately use the technology tools. We also want to rethink, as a division, our support processes and procedures to be able to adequately support our users and in our community. So that is what the Information Technology Division is working with as pertains to technology and preparing for another great year of learning.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. And I mean, you usually, of course, IT is always managing to be on the hot seat for so many things, when things go down, oh my God, but thank you for that. And so when the students, and this is a secondary question, but when the students have had to return the Chromebooks after school, when school ended, what do we do with those? Do we refurbish them? Do we repair them? Are they in need of repair sometime? I mean, what happens what's the process after that?
Okay. So the process, well, as we know, the principals have the hard part, because they have to collect them all, and so they'll collect them all, and they're given directions on where to put them, and then IT sends teams out to each school. So right now we're in the high schools. So we're going to a school. We'll work with the principal. We have our own area to work in, and literally we'll have a team of 8 people that will go, and they literally take them out. They clean them. We check them, make sure that they are operating properly, making sure there's no physical damage, broken screens, hinges, and just making sure that they're updated to the latest operating system. That's going to determine what teachers can do with them when the fall occurs. So we look at we just analyze it from A to Z. Now, those who pass the test, they're placed back in the box and they're noted and inventoried as these are okay, they're ready to go. Those that are not, they need to be repaired. Then those go to the second phase, and whatever repair they need, we take them through those repairs, and then we put those back in the box. And those that don't make it at all, we retire those and from our inventory and look and see where the school lands, so that we can make sure that we provide them with additional devices to be able to support their enrollment for the fall.
Okay, fantastic. And one thing just happened to come to my mind. Do you have a team person, for instance, at each school that you collaborate with or that serves on your, like a committee or whatever, to kind of keep you updated on what they need at those individual schools? Or is it just that, you all meet independently of the schools and then, tell them what you need? Do you actually have someone in every school, for the most part, that actually maybe has an IT liaison with your group?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. We every principal has what you call a digital learning team.
Okay.
And on that digital learning team, these are their typically they're tech rock stars in their building. Those who really, teachers who really like to contribute and provide support to the school. And so typically we have instructional technology specialists, and they are all assigned to each of our 7 regions. And so they work with the regional superintendent and their regional team, as well as the principal and the digital learning teams. So typically the collaboration is definitely centered on what we call a digital learning roadmap that we work with each principal to complete at the beginning of the year. And that roadmap talks about, where that school is going, what the needs are, the instructional needs are, what strategic goals they have in place. And from there, we determine how the technology can assist them. And then from there, they determine what training looks like and all the various activities that can occur in that school, what types of activities with our tech cafes, and working with, the parent liaisons and family engagement to make sure we can keep our families engaged along with the schools. So all of that happens in that manner.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. I appreciate that. Just a real quick question before I move into the adult GED program. There are quite a few questions that seem to be popping up in the chat about the in-person or virtual learning for all grade levels. Superintendent, I don't know if you want to respond to that, or Ms. Stepney. I'm not sure that someone's probably maybe answering their question. I'm not really sure.
Yes, the question, I don't see the exact question, Mrs. Pierce.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned something about will virtual be available to all grade levels or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, so I can respond to the question from the big picture, and then I think Ms. Stepney and Ms. Davis can fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Yes, we're offering a 5-day in-person option. That is our hope and our dream, that the majority of our children will be returning to the school building. With that said, we know that there are students who have underlying health conditions or other reasons why families are hoping for a virtual option at this time. Ms. Davis did speak about the success of our Flex Academies, and we are expanding those to schools for high school and middle school. We're also offering a virtual option for our elementary schools. However, we want to really get the message out that all of our data suggests that the best option for our elementary school students is in-person learning in our buildings. And we want to do everything to make families feel safe and excited about that. However, we will offer a virtual option. So with that, I'll punt it to either Ms. Stepney or Ms. Davis, who would like to speak a little bit more about the virtual options.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Watson Harris. And I'm looking awkwardly at the chat, so I'm answering as many questions as I can, Mrs. Pierce, so you know.
I know, there's a lot popping up, so go ahead.
And some questions, because they are confidential in nature,
Okay.
I'm posting generic information, but contacting the stakeholder directly with an individual message. Okay, just want you to know that. As far as next year with the virtual experience, Mrs. Watson Harris shared our plan. We want you to know that part of the virtual learning experience, in order for us to provide students with the best the optimal educational environment we can. Some courses will not be offered virtually. For example, we do have students who are involved in performance-based classes. So dance is an example of students have reached a level of dance that really, in order to critique the student, help them develop their skills, they really need to be in person. And so we are being fair and transparent when we give the parents an opportunity to make a declaration. They'll be able to make that declaration, but we want to be forward with the information so they can make the best determination for the student.
Okay, fantastic. And someone dropped something in the chat just a little bit ago about, it sounded like, do students have a flexible option? In other words, can they come to school a few days and then can they go virtual a few other days, that kind of thing? Do they even have that type of an option, or is it either or? Anybody? I know we hadn't ventured into that territory. That was a very interesting question. That's why
I will share that
Yes.
lessons learned from some of our principals in our schools, that we were very flexible this past semester because we wanted to help families transition and our students. And so we gave them an opportunity at the 4.5 week grading periods to re-enter or change their minds. But it was disruptive with some of the feedback. And so we want to make sure that we somewhat address that. So when families have the opportunity to make a declaration, we're asking that they think about the commitment. That the commitment will be longer. We will not be able to say at 4.5 weeks, you can change your mind, because we're dedicating staffing. And that's not very easy, that if we say week 1, you're virtual, but week 2, you want to be in person, we have to plan to be ready, to give them the best experience. So staffing and scheduling will be at the forefront to make sure that we can serve the students. So that will be something that's unique with the declaration.
Okay, and thank you so much for that clarification, because I saw that there and I thought, that's interesting, but I didn't know. And I think when we hear the word or see the word flex, maybe somebody might think that they have that kind of an option, but thank you for making that clarification. I really appreciate that. All right, moving on to topic 2, adult GED program. Ms. Coward, got a question for you. You ready? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, would you tell our stakeholders about your program and how they can obtain information about it if they're interested? And please share how you envision this program impacting our students and their families.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send it over to Narva Dunlap. Narva Dunlap is one of our liaisons in the district, in the family engagement team, that has spearheaded this effort for the past 3 years. For the past 3 years, we've really done this from our perspective, meaning we knew that there was a need in the district because our parents kept calling. They wanted the help, they needed the supports. When we pushed it out to inquire about, the interest itself, we had to stop registration at 1,700.
Wow.
Because we knew that at that point, we did not have the capacity to support our parents with a GED program with the limited resources that we had. But we also knew that we could not know that there was such a great need and not do something about it. So Narva and I and one of our teachers, who is a retired teacher in DeKalb, sat down and decided that we needed to go after our own funding, right? And so we did receive a grant this year from the Technical College System of Georgia so that we could support more than just the 50 students that we were able to support for the past 3 years. We did about 50 per year. But when we saw the results of those that came through and did get their GED, we have parents who are now in nursing programs. We have parents who are now in college, enrolled in college, with a second opportunity to make something great of their own dreams. And so we knew that this had to be something that we push forward. So I'm going to ask Narva, because I know she's on the call, to talk about and brag about the program, because she really is the driver for this in our department. Narva, are you here?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Ms. Coward. And it's a pleasure to be here. I would like to, again, make this special announcement. Some it will be new to, others you have heard it before, but I am definitely that awesome cheerleader and fan and advocate of our adult learners in DeKalb County School District. So this is a very exciting time in our district. So on behalf of Superintendent Mrs. Cheryl Watson Harris and the Technical College System of Georgia's Office of Adult Education, it is indeed a pleasure to announce that DeKalb County School District has been selected as an official adult education provider for adult learners. Yes, I have to do all of this. I didn't have it last time when we had the
Fantastic. Wow, that's great.
because I was logged in at a different location, but our parents know that we're their number one cheerleaders, their number one fans, and we're advocates and ambassadors for them every step of the way. So as Ms. Coward stated, we've had a limited number of parents that we've been able to serve because of funding, but the sky is the limit now. Today it is. So I was on two wheels getting here because I was on a call with the Technical College System of Georgia, just with our timeline to make sure we're where we need to be for opening July 1st. What that means is that now we will be able to serve 500 adult learners, 500 adult learners who will be able to attain their GED, obtain English language acquisition services, family literacy, and supports with post-secondary learning. That's exceptional. I'm ecstatic about it. The district's adult education program will provide various opportunities that are a springboard to higher education, to better paying jobs, and rewarding career paths. Recognizing that there are many valuable benefits of having a GED, one of the greatest rewards that we have witnessed, for our parents and guardians is the experience of using the academic skills that they learn in their adult education classes to assist their children with assignments at home. So we all know what research states. Yeah. The parents that are able to get these academic skills, be it they are able to learn and able to help their students at home with homework and with projects, which ultimately what helps increase student achievement. And that's what we're all about as well. So for additional information, contact me, Narva Dunlap, and my colleagues are posting in the chat my phone number, district cell number, as well as email. Feel free to contact me at any time, and I will be able to offer some additional information. Just to note that this is getting ready to be another exciting time in DeKalb County School District. The program's recruitment and registration process will start next Wednesday. So you will see it through our district's communication platforms, messengers, flyers. And again, for additional information, feel free to call or email me as you need the link to be able to register for this awesome and phenomenal program. We look forward to launching the DCSD Adult Education Program on July 1st and supporting our adult learners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, Narva. See, I knew she would be taking out the pom-pom. She's our cheerleader. She's the cheerleader in the department. But you know, it is a serious matter because we know that we ask our parents to be, you know, teachers, especially since the pandemic. We've counted on our parents to really step up to the plate and become teachers in their homes to support their students, and not realizing that a lot of them couldn't do that. We got a lot of those phone calls that said, I don't know how to do this. One, I don't speak the language. Two, I didn't graduate from school, so I don't know how to help my high school student or my middle school student. So this is going to really, truly be a game changer for a lot of our families in DeKalb. The good thing about this grant is that it also offers some career enhancement opportunities for our families as well. So we're looking at those opportunities to be able to help our parents get better jobs as well. So there's a lot going on our side of the fence with family engagement. We've been pushing into our immigrant population because, again, we're talking to parents who have attained degrees in their countries, but they come to America from whatever situation they've come from, and they end up working in a chicken factory. Now, why would I need to be working in a chicken factory when I can teach math in somebody's school? Because I have the ability to, right? So it's really empowering our families this year and pushing in to make sure that we lift their voices so that they know that they have a seat at the table, they have a voice, just like how we have parents. I'm enjoying the chat because parents are really speaking up. The other great thing that is happening in the family engagement department this year is that we're pushing through with the recommendation and the support of our superintendent, Cheryl Watson Harris, and our deputy superintendent, who is my manager, Miss Melissa Harris, a parent fellowship. Okay. So we'll be training parents on how to really, truly advocate on behalf of their children, right? Sometimes they really don't know how, and that's why we have the resistance at the school level. So we will see a very big shift in supports for our families this year and the years to come, because now parents will get the correct training that they need. We talk to other districts across the nation, and they're like, why would you want to do that? Why would you not want to do that, right? Because parents want to be heard. Sometimes they just don't know how. So the work is phenomenal. The passion is there. The support is there. So parents, for those of you who have not been fully engaged, this is a time for you to step up and do your part. I'm also looking at the chat, and I see where some folks have said they missed registration for summer school, missed registration for something else, or didn't know something else was going on. You have got to make sure that your information is in Infinite Campus is up to date, because that is how we contact you for everything, right? So in order for you to know and get the information that you need to be engaged and be empowered, you must make sure that that information is updated.
And thank you, Ms. Coward, for that. And Dr. Morley, I see your hand, so hold that thought for just a second. But Marva, I want to thank you for your enthusiasm. Yeah, I feel it. It's radiating over here where I am. But one thing I want to also thank you for including guardians in your conversation. When you said parents, it's not just parents, it's everybody's not a parent. But we've got caregivers as well, which are also people who need to be included in the equation. So it's parents, guardians, and caregivers. We've got a myriad of people doing a lot of interesting jobs, trying to help our children get to where they need to go. So, but thank you for including that. And thank you. I mean, I'm basically kind of speechless behind that announcement. And you're talking about you got here on 2 wheels. I'm sure you were doing a few cartwheels along the way as well. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Dr. Morley, I see you. Thank you for joining and lending your support.
You're welcome, Ms. Pierce. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Always, always, always.
The hand raise was an error. The hand raise was an error, but
look, that's all right. I saw you. I want to acknowledge you anyway, because I had already said if there were any board members, any team board members around, to just please, let me know so I could say thank you for supporting me, because this is my first time out of the gate and for something like this, and I really appreciate that so much.
But I do want to say, as far as the GED program is it's phenomenal. We've been fighting for it for quite some time. We want to make sure that we have the funds in
Sure.
order to be able to do what we need to do, even though we can have grants, have to have certain things like this put into the general budget. When you're committed to something, has to be a part of the general funds. We can't depend on grants to do what we need to do. And until we have an educated society and educated population, it's just like not having education at all. And what a way to be able to have parents and children learning all at the same time. So I think it's crucial to be able to make sure that if we say we're going to educate children as part of a system, this is a systems experience, that we're going to educate the parents all at the same time. So I am just so pleased, not only with the GED program, but everything else that's going on with family and community engagement. I want to say to that team over there, kudos all the time.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that, Dr. Morley. That makes them and all of us feel, very, very good. So thank you. Mr.
Miss
Esto. Oh,
Miss
I'm sorry.
Pierce,
Yes, ma'am.
just before you go on, I just wanted to let you know that Ms. Hill is here as well.
Okay. Hi, Mrs. Hill. I don't see her picture, but yeah, that's my new buddy. We both came on brand new here in January. So, we're just kind of like this now. That BFF type of thing. Is that what, that's what everybody calls? We have good conversations. So thank you for supporting me as well, Mrs. Hill. Mr. Esto, we're on you now. Topic number 4, sir. Transportation improvements and operations updates. You ready for your questions?
Sure.
Where is Mr. Esto?
Can you see me?
I can't see you, but okay, I hear you. So you're there. I just can't see you on my screen. Okay, well, listen, your questions are, students who return to our buildings got used to a socially distanced bus ride. What can they expect for the new school year? And what enhancements, if any, have been made to our buses to ensure both driver and student safety?
Well, I thank you for the question.
Sure.
Into
There you are. Okay.
Member Morley and Member Hill, good evening. It's nice to see all of you, as well as my colleagues, Madam Superintendent, and community members. I think the first thing is that we can say without question is that we're going back to school and the wheels on the bus are going to go round and round. So based upon the distancing issues, we plan to still follow and review guidelines as they're coming out from both the CDC as well as ASHRAE. And then once we have those guidelines, we will continue to look at the recommendations as they come from our medical advisory committee in moving forward. I think it's safe to say, though, that as we're looking hopefully at vaccinations increasing herd effect, and knowing that vaccinations are being perfected for those children and students at 12 and younger to increase the safety issue, that we will get to a point of normalcy that we may not have seen in a while. So that's the effective piece. The other piece will be, as far as for technology, we are looking at increasing our capability of reducing route time to increase our instructional time in the schools for face-to-face. So we are very quickly working on a outline plan of optimizing routes, and we have started that as of this week. So we are going through our runs for summer school, and we will start dry runs for the fall, about another 2.5, 3 weeks to increase the instructional time. So things are forgive the pun, moving along quite well.
Okay, fantastic. And just one other thing, or actually 2 things for you. Can you give us a status report on the water fill stations? I don't know that people maybe all know what that is. If they're not parents, there may be just community members being curious, like, what is she talking about? That will be in our schools. And how many are allotted to elementary, middle, and high schools, and their anticipated locations within the building? Are they going to be located in specific spots?
I think the initial plan was to looking at least 2 per school, per educational band of elementary, middle, and high school. And we have so far in receipt in excess of 500. We have been averaging somewhere between 70 and 85 installations per week. We have another order to place once we finish with this. And the strategic areas will be in general common areas. I would imagine, as I have seen them so far in our walkthroughs, near the general common areas of either the cafeteria or right near the main offices. And then we'll kind of take it from there. But we have made a much more aggressive movement since the last piece. It is something every weekly in my division weekly report, which we will then be doing again for her review and consideration by tomorrow. So the pace has been very good. The issue for the residual amount that are remaining is, again, as we are improving our qualities within the school, so is everyone else. So it's just a point of maintaining our curve and staying in front of it now, which we're doing.
Okay, fantastic. And finally for you, if you could speak briefly on the importance of the CMP, and that, and how are our numbers looking regarding stakeholder responses to the survey? And we'll most definitely post that in the chat for people. So of course, we'd love to have them if they have a moment while they're on here to just go ahead and fill that out.
Oh, absolutely. Well, certainly on the front of our district website is a direct hyperlink to look at all of our CMP activity as it stands right now, with 2 surveys that can be looked at. The surveys that we have done internally with our stakeholders, being staff members, being other members within the district who have given their input and observations. And then there is a community engagement survey. So those both can be seen, and those are real time and can be looked at.
Okay.
Certainly as we have evolved through it and realizing that some things have to always be improved upon, I've certainly taken a personal endeavor in reaching out to all of our regional superintendents and have given them 13 categorical areas to look at, or genres that I think are going to be very specific as we go through and we just go to validate and scrubbing our facility condition assessment scores. With that, of our 140 principals, I have so far met with probably about 92 as of today, with a goal of trying to reach the remainder within the next 5 business days. To say arithmetically that while we're looking at all the information coming in from an inside out perspective, then the next thing that we are doing and have already started in the last 3 weeks is to reach out to the county and looking at what are their perspectives as far as for programs moving forward for the CMP for SPLOST 6, as well as our 12 respective municipalities, our cities, and seeing what programs they have too. Part of the comprehensive issue has to be that we are collaboratively working together to increase and strengthen the bond and tapestry of our community, which would be the entire county. And as opposed to either working in silence or in silos, to very openly talk about those issues that we can coalesce and pull projects and funds on, so that we're not being redundant and not being as efficient as we can with the money that we're hoping to get from SPLOST 6.
Okay, fantastic. And thank you, Mr. Essel. And I apologize to my audience because I'm the last person in the world that uses a lot of acronyms, but CMP is a comprehensive master plan.
Yeah, so we're trying to be absolutely comprehensive and collaborative with it. So.
Yeah, so that'll be something that will be driving us for a very long time. So please, everyone who's on, whether you're a community member, parent, whatever, if you live in the area, just give us your information. We really want your input just to know how you feel about things and what you'd like to see happen for our district. Thank you, Mr. Esto.
You're more than welcome, Member Pierce.
And saving the best for last, or should I even say that? Because I don't want to offend anybody. But social and emotional supports, Dr. Deborah Moore Sanders and her team. And I wanted to, Dr. Morley, and I'm kind of glad that you're here, because I did make mention when I requested to have that group join us this evening. I did say, and is Dr. Moore Sanders on?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, my thought was, and of course I said, at Dr. Morley's Courageous Conversations event last week, you described what a crisis looks like. And of course we did determine too, sometimes people don't really know what that looks like or that they are actually in one. And what supports our district provided to students, parents, community members, and employees. Can you please talk about that again to our audience, for our audience, and perhaps include if there were any special supports that were or are being provided for families with children with special needs, be they disability or homelessness?
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for that question, and good afternoon, everyone. One of the things that we shared when we did the Courageous Conversation with Dr. Morley is looking at our families and really determining what actually constitutes a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And so for our different families, it may be a different type of situation. Some of our families may have a crisis because of economic instability. Some of our families may have a crisis because right now they have been on lockdown with their wonderful children for such a long time. Some of our families may be experiencing anxiety within their homes or within themselves, just because of the pandemic that is going on, which has really caused a high level of anxiety and possible trauma for some of our students. And so when we talk about what constitutes a crisis, it really looks at what it is that that family is dealing with. What are their coping mechanisms to effectively deal with that situation? And what is it that we can do to assist? And so within our division, the division is Division of Student Support and Intervention. And will be name changing soon to make sure we are looking at equity and student empowerment. Our goal is to provide supports to our families and our students. And so within this division, I want to make sure families know what is available to them and what is actually in our schools. We have counselors that are in our high schools, in our elementary and our middle schools. There are psychologists, there are social workers. We have a Department of Student Relations that helps us to deal with discipline and restorative practice and positive behaviors and interventions and supports. We have a prevention team within our district, and we have also a group that is working to provide check and connect services for our students. And so within this division, what we try to do is to support the schools, support the children, and support the faculty as everyone is coming back. We know when we return back to school that we don't know what normal looks like.
Right.
So let's just say that people have talked about the new normal since we've been in COVID. We've been in this space for well over a year. So we don't really know what normal looks like to bring everybody back. But what we do know is we are hopeful that we can do well by bringing our children back, but also address those needs. So a big part of addressing need deals with social emotional learning and social emotional wellness. And so within our district, we have what we call our multi-tiered systems of supports, our response to intervention process, and that is global across all of our schools. And to address our social emotional needs, we start there. We know when these children come back that we need time to reacclimate them back to the classroom. We need time for the children to express what they have been fearing. We need time for our children to express what they have gone through being at home. And we know that. We already know that. And so one of the things that we are looking forward to doing is addressing SEL. And what I call SEL is that social emotional learning. We're trying not to use acronyms so our family know what we're talking about. But I can tell you that under that model, we look at providing the skills under self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. So that is the core of what we do. My team members that are on the call, what they do is supplement and assist in those areas. So if I may punt to someone just so that they can share what they are doing, I'm going to punt to Dr. Towns first so that she can share some information about how we bring our kids back. And then we'll continue to let the other team members share the type of information that I think will be beneficial to our parents.
Absolutely. And thank you, Dr. Moore Sanders. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moore Sanders, and thank you, Mrs. Pierce, for having me. And I'm very excited to be able to dialogue with the CAP stakeholders. And we want you to know that we are very excited to have our students back in the schoolhouse during the 21-22 school year, receiving face-to-face instruction, because we know that's when they're most successful. We want you to know that they will be welcomed in a positive, safe, and nurturing environment. That is important to us because we want to ensure that our students are successful as they transition back to school. And we do want to collaborate with the parents, and we would like our parents to collaborate not only with our district leaders, not only with our board leaders, but also our administrators and teachers and other staff members that are in our schools, in a positive way to keep students in school. And while we know that students have been out for more than a year, and we certainly know that there are different rules at home than there are in school, we want to assist our students in having a successful and engaging day each day that they are in school. And what we will do in order to ensure that is to establish norms, rituals, and routines that will be reviewed daily. We have to review those behavior expectations. And just like we learn math and we're taught math and we're taught English and we're taught social studies, sometimes we do have to teach what those rules are and what those expectations are so students will know, and they'll know what these expectations are. So that will be taught throughout the school as well as in our classrooms. Those expectations will be posted throughout the schools and in the classrooms. We will review the Code of Student Conduct. We're in the process of reviewing and revising it for the 21-22 school year, but there is a Code of Student Conduct for our students in DeKalb that is currently posted for that 2021 school year. And I'll put that link in the chat. And we are asking our parents to review that Code of Student Conduct with their children for understanding and clarity. Our students will also take a discipline test for understanding, where they have the opportunity to speak directly with their teacher and other administrators so they can understand what our expectations are. And though we know that students will be excited to return, and we are excited for them to return, they may experience some challenges through this transition. And we want our parents and our students to know that we will provide positive interventions and supports. And just to list a few of those, some of these may include, again, establishing those routines and teaching those daily, using silent signals to remind students of those expectations. Sometimes we may need to use proximity to keep students on task. And once we have to give correction, we want that to be a quiet correction. That allows the teacher to remain in control of the class, and it also allows the student to maintain their dignity while they're in class. Giving students a task to allow the student to reset and rejoin the class. We may even allow the child to take a short break so they can reset and get focused. One of the most prominent things we need to do is use positive phrasing to focus on the positive result of a behavior that we want rather than a negative one. And one very simple positive phrase could be a negative phrase that we may use: don't run in the halls. Well, rather than saying that doesn't give the student what you expect them to do. But if you say to them, we walk in the halls, that is telling them what we want them to do. That is giving the expectation in a positive way. Sometimes we need to restate the behavior that we're expecting. And lastly, it's always great to receive tangible reinforcements and acknowledgments. We may give the child a shout out on a card. We may give them a sticker. We may give them some Tiger bucks, and they can use those bucks to purchase things from, maybe the kid closet that they have. But we want to ensure the success of our students, and we want them to be engaged and excited and joyful when they come to a school in DeKalb County School District. So we want parents to know that we want to use all the positive interventions and supports that we have to make sure that child is enjoying their day and that they are in a positive, safe, and nurturing learning environment.
Thank you, Dr. Towns.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Pierce, if I may, there was a question in the chat where someone asked, how do I get my kids connected to that SEL system?
Yes, I saw that.
And what I want to share with the parents is that within our schools, this is a part of what we do. So the child will be connected to receiving instruction on decision making and problem solving, managing emotions. That is our core of what it is that we do. But another way I can share with parents is that we have our other support systems in the school. And so if I may punt to another team member real quickly, I would like for Kimberly Franklin and Denise Rebels to share from their perspectives the types of supports that are in the schools to support SEL as well as mental health.
Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Kimberly Franklin, Coordinator of Psychological Services. And Ms. Pierce, thank you so much for having me to be here today. And I'm so grateful to talk to all the stakeholders of your region or your district. As the school psychologists provide support through the MTSS process, which Dr. Moore Sanders stated earlier, we are part of the team to help identify specific interventions to address students that may be having academic, emotional or behavioral concerns, social difficulties, and attentional problems. We identify specific interventions that have been research-based and evidence proven to be effective to help children improve. And we monitor their progress throughout the school year to make sure they're gaining skills. We are also available to provide social emotional learning, small counseling groups. We were able to do it virtually this past school year, which was very interesting. And I think the students enjoyed it, but we enjoy it more when we're able to physically work with students face to face. So we do plan to continue to do that this school year also. We are service consultants for teachers and administrators to provide support for concerns that may arise in a school setting. And we also conduct psychological evaluations. And we do still have some students that we are still in the process of evaluating, and we'll need to continue to evaluate once the school year opens up. I'm going to go ahead and put it on to Ms. Rebel so that she can continue.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin, and thank you, Ms. Pierce, for this opportunity. So the school social work department, and let me introduce myself, Denise Rebels. I'm the coordinator of school social work. Our department, we provide resources to parents. We are that link between the home, the school, and the community. We go out to the home and we sit and talk to parents, and we try to provide support, find out what the needs are for that specific family. And then once we identify that need, we're very intentional about the support that we can provide to the family. And so there was also a question about homelessness. And so I wanted to address that as well. For our families that are experiencing homelessness, we try to make sure that those children are provided with comparable services to our children that are not experiencing homelessness. And so for us, what that means is ensuring that they can enroll in school immediately. Even if they don't have all of their documentation, we want to make sure that there's no learning loss for those students. We also make sure that they have what they need, the learning tools that they need, school supplies, school uniforms, transportation if they live out of the county. And so we just want to make sure that those children have all the access that they need, and equity is really important for that group of children. We also are involved in paying their graduation fees for their diploma, their cap and gown, making sure that we can connect them to tutoring resources if needed, to food resources. And so we just make sure those families have everything that they need. So as school social workers during the summertime, we use this time to increase awareness and go out to the hotels to make sure that our families that are living in hotels know about the first day of school, how to enroll the children in school, and that they have access to all the information that they need.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That's great information.
Thank you, Ms. Pierce. And if I may add as well, within our department, because we know that it is also vitally important for us to provide services for our staff.
Yes.
And we do that through a very concerted effort in collaboration with our HR department. But we have also provided quite a bit of training for our teachers. We have a prevention liaison on our team, Dr. Tori Hornsby Griffin, who is here, and she has been diligent in setting up resources and professional learning for all of our team. I don't want to take up all of the time because I know you also wanted to hear from Moname in reference to what we have been doing for our graduates and those students that are that have graduated and talk about the summer melt. So I wanted to make sure we had enough time for that and not take up all of the time. But yes, Mona May.
Your area is very, very important. And I will just state this, that of course, as adults, we're not exempt from the very things that our families and children struggle with.
Yes,
So
we
it's
can.
extremely important for our audience to know that we're not only helping them, but you're also helping ourselves, really, if we need it. So thank you for that information. Ms. Malabeth?
Thank you, Dr. Moore Sanders. Thank you, Ms. Pierce, for hosting this event. I'm excited to share information with stakeholders in your district about the work that we've been doing in student advancement, specifically addressing what Dr. Moore Sanders brought up regarding summer melt. This is, we just graduated, right? You have mentioned the graduation week was a very prideful moment for you and myself and so many of our colleagues here was looking forward to being able to have that for our students this year since we missed out on last year. So it was great to see their lovely faces, all 5,800 something of them. But we know that, our students have great plans to do wonderful things when they leave us. But sometimes, and we know this as well, as adults, plans may not go as we plan. And we hope that there is a take two. Or if there was no plan at all, we hope that we can lean in on someone to help us navigate that process. So our students that had plans to go to college, completed all their paperwork, ready to go to their institutions this fall. But sometimes things don't work out the way that they should, because a student would miss out on some deadlines. They would miss out on maybe a small deposit or just paperwork that they just really did not understand, but didn't have anyone to go to, especially because school is out. And so, and for first generation college students, that's proven to be a little bit more difficult as well for them to continue with their plan and hit that college institution in the fall because of the number of things that I just mentioned. So we have been hosting a summer transition center for the past 5 years now for recent graduates to be able to access our post-secondary transition specialist, which we have one for every region. And I did post that information on the chat because there were questions about Upward Bound, and I included information about Gear Up and our Naviance platform, which is our district's college and career platform for high school students. And then it will be coming soon for our middle school students to be able to use that platform, which is a wonderful tool that parents can also work with their students on at home, where students can learn more about themselves and be able to match and have that best fit if college is their choice. And it will help minimize a lot of these, pitfalls that our students fall into because they have that additional support virtually. But we also have students who haven't made a decision or changed their mind. So maybe they don't want to go to college and they just are not sure what the direction, should be. This is also an opportunity with our Summer Transition Center for them to come in and hop in our virtual office hours because, we've all been virtual this year to talk to a post-secondary transition specialist. We've hosted a number of workshop sessions on various topics, like it's not too late to apply kind of topic, or here's some additional scholarships. If you have a gap somewhere, let's learn about other scholarships that have summer deadlines. These sessions are hosted virtually, of course, for our recent graduates. In addition to that, we're shoring up our rising seniors, so our class of 2022, getting them started early with their Rising Senior Week. Today was the last day for both of the Summer Transition Center sessions and our Rising Senior Week. So we hosted it for the last 2 weeks, which has been successful. And we hope to continue to do that for all of our students. We don't want to forget about them. So I did put our email address, our general inbox email address. If you have any questions regarding any kind of college readiness, post-secondary readiness, please contact Student Advancement at DeKalbSchoolsGA.org, and I can certainly help you answer your questions or direct you to one of the members of my team.
Fantastic. That's why I was very happy to have you come on board because here we are, kids have graduated, they walked across the stage and they're excited and they hit a brick wall, some of them. And that, we can't allow that. So I wanted our stakeholders who are on the call tonight to know that that is something that we just don't, push and let them go down the steps and say, have a nice day. I really am thankful that we are taking the time or have taken the time to consider what it's going to be like for them after, especially in this COVID environment, that this particularly has been a very, very stressful time. So thank you so very much for your presentation. Dr. Moore Sanders, thank you for your entire team. I don't know if Ms. Harris is with you. No, Nurse Harris, is she with you? Yeah, I had her down if she wanted to kind of give us a brief update on CDC guidelines at all.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me,
You're welcome.
Mrs. Pierce, and your constituents in District 3, and our Madam Superintendent, and the rest of our amazing team. Right now, our 2020-2021 guidance for COVID is that we are still at this time layering our mitigation strategies, which of course is masking, washing your hands, using respiratory etiquette, covering your cough, covering your sneezes, disposing of your dirty tissues, etc. Social distancing, staying home when you're not well, and of course, cleaning the facilities that are high traffic areas are always key. And of course, as the guidance changes, and if you've been around for quite some time, you know those guidelines change quite often. So we are still looking at what happens when you've been vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And we do know that individuals that have been vaccinated and have had their 2 complete dosages of the vaccine that requires 2 dosages, or the one that is the Johnson & Johnson, after 2 weeks, you can not have to wear your face mask around individuals that have also been vaccinated. What they do are offering it and saying that if you haven't been vaccinated, that you do continue to protect yourselves from others and you wear your mask. We are looking at what's happening with our returning to school, and we do have an isolation room in place right now that we've had since children began to come back into the building. And at this time, we're continuing the isolation room because it's good practice, whether it be a COVID concern or some other infectious disease concern or infectious illness concern, we must protect each other and the rest of the school. So we will continue to looking at what this looks like, and we will constantly update you when the guidance warrants us to give you an update, which we will be doing before the school opens for the 2022 school year. And it's been my pleasure just to bring that information to you. And I will keep everyone abreast of any new guidances that CDC has recommended. And as you know, I do have great news that I want to share as well. This week, we have had no new COVID cases for DeKalb County School District.
Wow.
And that's
something to brag about.
It's something to brag about when we come from several hundred in a week.
Yes.
And we were at that peak and we couldn't break that trend. And today, I give my reports to the superintendent and her team. And I knew it was coming, but I just couldn't help to keep hoping. I don't want to get any false hope, but that's a huge undertaking for us. So
absolutely.
Thank you all for doing the right thing and keeping us all safe. And with that, I thank you for having me tonight.
And you're welcome. And thank you for that. And please let the news stations know that.
Yes.
And all the good press we get all the time. They need to know that. We need to brag on ourselves a lot more.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. So that was good. Yours, between yours and Ms. Dunlap's report. I mean, really, you all have made this an exceptional conversation, and that does kind of bring us to a close. And what a close! What I want to say to everybody, thank you so very much for hanging in with us. Thank you, everyone who has taken the time out of your busy day, because again, I did make mention of the fact that there have been some very long days by a lot of people on this call. And they did it because they want you to know what's going on. We need to share as much information with each other as possible, be as upfront and candor, have as much candor as possible, so that we can move our district forward. We do not want to stay stagnated. We don't want to ever be stagnated for that matter. If anything, we want to excel beyond everybody's expectation. And as I was saying about optimism, this is part of it. This is why I wear rose-colored glasses a lot of times, and people say, you need to take those off. I will never take them off because I have great faith in people. I have great faith in what we can do. I'm looking forward to some exceptional and exciting things that are going to come forward from the school district. And I'm just thankful for all of you for taking the time to be here tonight. Thank you for all the stakeholders who have come on, and I know your days have been long as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Many blessings to all of you, and stay safe and well. Come back and see us soon. Stay on top of the school district's website, get all the information that you can. If you have questions, just pick up the phone and call somebody. Pick up the phone and call someone. Email me, I'm readily available. Now, if I don't know the answer, I will certainly siphon you to whoever does have the answer. So again, thank you everyone for making this an exceptional evening. I hope everybody feels as if all of you presenters, I hope that you feel like you've had enough time to share what you needed to share. I feel like we've had a comfortable environment, and I'm thankful for that, and look forward to working with you over the next few years and beyond. So thank you, and good night, everyone.